What is going on? Happy Friday. Last day of the week. It's been alright, to be fair. Obviously we've seen the pound finally give up the ghost. Pound New Zealand absolutely nosedived throughout yesterday. So obviously from Wednesday. From Wednesday, obviously, we saw the pound die off a little bit. And then that has continued into this morning. So, into yesterday and then into this morning. If we look on the 30 minutes, we are currently just battling around this 89, 80 level of support that we've been stuck in. We are slowly starting to get below that now. So, what we should start to see, with any luck, is that price eventually now should just pop below this level. And then obviously we will start to see slowly a push down to 186, 187, somewhere around the lows through here. Obviously being very mindful at 187.80. So, yeah, I mean, as far as things go, that is obviously looking to be a relatively positive situation for us. So we just have to wait that out, see what happens. I believe entries below 89.40 at the moment make the most sense. We want to just pop back below all these lows. However, obviously what we are currently seeing is a push and rejection away from 89.80, which can obviously present us with a potential opportunity surrounding the possible breakout and retest situation that we're currently seeing. So it is going to pay to be a little bit mindful of that today, as we are moving throughout the morning. So we just need to keep an eye, we need to be mindful. We have continued to make these little swings, which is a nice situation to be in and a nice situation to see. So there's no need to rush into anything with Pound New Zealand, or for that matter, any of the pound pairs. They will show exactly what they need to see eventually. If we just come out, I want to go to just come out to pound yen. Obviously, we saw the yen drop off, and we've just seen quite a large impulse move. I would very much envision pound yen coming all the way back to kind of 148.20, 148.50, and then potentially seeing that roll off. But shorts back below 47.40 make all the sense in the world when it comes to pound yen at the moment. I think, well, I think, but the potential for the yen to start to strengthen up a little bit and grow a backbone is starting to become apparent, especially when we're looking at situations like euro yen. So I think it's something that we could do with obviously being pretty mindful of, and keeping an eye on that situation and seeing how things are going to progress with the pair, and throughout this kind of time that we're going to be involved in. So 129.30 breaks above that. Obviously, we turn attentions to the longs when it comes to euro yen. There is quite a lot of euro data, I believe, but I believe it was at 7 o'clock actually. Let me just have a quick look. I think there was quite a lot of data due for release. Yeah, so initial CPI data for the euro, that wasn't particularly good at all. That's all a bit tentative. I thought there was quite a lot of data today. However, there seems doesn't seem to have been the case. How odd. Don't know. I'm not too sure. That seems a bit weird. I think anyway, as I say, that the euro yen, I believe, has a fair bit of downside potential to it at the moment, and that's something to obviously be a little bit mindful of, and be wary of, because anything like that provides us with an opportunity to take a potential trade and potential position is obviously a good thing in my book. So we will be mindful and keep an eye on that possibility. But obviously what we are seeing currently and what we're seeing at the moment is that push up, the rejection, and obviously now looking for that push to the downside. So it looks as if we are going to see a little bit of movement still to see within these euro pairs. We'll go through and have a look at euro odds and euro yen in a minute. But as things stand at the moment, I quite like the fact that we might have potential entries on euro yen as we're looking back down towards 128.50, and then obviously from 128.50 we shall see where we go from there. But the potential to come back through 128.50 down to 127.20. I'm not saying that's going to happen today because obviously we are starting to get towards the tail end of the week. We're in the business end now. But the swings that we are seeing are starting to become a little bit more consistent. They're starting to become more consistent with the patterns that we would like to see in the eventuality that we were to see a trend change and a push to the downside for the pair. So we just be mindful, keep an eye, watch what goes on. Breaks back below 27.80 would probably give us enough to go on when it comes to potential shorts there. And then obviously through 128.50. If obviously we can get through 128.50 and continue on to the downside there, then we are on to a winner. It just remains obviously just a little bit to be seen as to what kind of movements we're going to see as the London session opens. That will be an interesting one. But as far as things go, things are looking pretty good on that pair at the moment. I don't know how dollar yen is looking. I know that the dollar's obviously strengthened up a little bit. Dollar yen back below 105, 106 looks like a possibility as well. Lower low, lower high. A new lower low forming somewhere around about 105.80 and then a push back to 106 and taking it from 106 looks like a great shout also. So there are potentials surrounding the yen at the moment. As I say, pound yen that we were looking at here, that push back into kind of 20, maybe even 50, and then the rollover from there also. So there are potential trades surrounding the yen at the moment. It looks as if that might be attempting to strengthen up just a little bit, which is obviously a positive. Swiss franc has gone on a little rampage, been very strong the last couple of days. Pound Swiss looked lovely yesterday. I sent that as a thing to keep an eye on. Yesterday morning, we started to see kind of these movements, and then the rejection away yesterday just sealed the deal. Pushed to the downside around about 200 pips. Easy, simple position, easy, simple trade. And it looks as if like the same thing has happened on the Aussie Swiss. Obviously, we were chilling around these highs. We've rejected away. In hindsight, it would have been a lovely position to try and take. Certainly when we got at the bottom here at 72.30. Currently, be chilling around about 140 pips to the good. So it would have been a nice position to take. Haven't had the opportunity. A pullback to 71.20 and rejection away would be nice, or the break back below 70.50. That will set us up for next week. If we look at the weekly candle as things stand at the minute, obviously that just signifies to us that we could be in for a whole world of downside momentum next week, pushing into somewhere around kind of 68, 67, 50, that kind of area. So Aussie Swiss, and if that's the case, I would hazard something around Aussie Yen. Yeah, look at that. That's filth. Presents us with a lot of potential. So possibly down to like 78.40 next week, which would be incredible. Just going to get rid of the alert. There's no point having that in play at the moment. 30-minute time frame on that. Obviously, we were talking yesterday morning about the potential push away from 84.50, and obviously we didn't see it. We went as high as 85, but when we've broken back through, we've had a lovely drop back to the downside. About 120, 130 pips up, depending on your entry. I imagine that we're going to consolidate around here, but the pop back below the lows, down at 82.90, 82 or 83, somewhere around there, that makes a lot of sense for a potential area to break out from, and then obviously see a run at 82.30 or 82.20. So certainly a lot to keep an eye on surrounding Aussie Yen, Aussie Swiss. I would imagine that the Euro Oz, we strengthened up quite a lot. Obviously, we did see the break from 53.50, broke back down to 52.50, and then yesterday we've just seen a continuous climb on Euro Oz. So the Aussie dollar's weakened off a fair bit. However, come out to the 4-hour time frame, and until we get back above 55.80, we can't look for a potential long position. All we can be interested in at the moment is taking the short back to 53.50, and that looks pretty highly probable, especially on the higher time frames. Come down to the hourly. The need for it to pull back to 154 or 153.50 is very, very apparent. Obviously, just a clean break of this area. Need to come back. Obviously, we saw this very minor retest of these highs to establish a little bit of support. However, I don't think that's enough to see us break back above 55.80. What I would very much envision now is just a drive back to 54, 53.80, and then we'll see where price goes from there. Euro New Zealand spiked back up yesterday, rejecting away from 65.60, which is obviously the initial area of breakout that we saw on Tuesday. We saw that initial breakout of that area on Tuesday. We've driven price all the way down. We took some shorts, which was lovely. And then obviously we're starting to reject away from that area again. What have we got between there? 40 pips. It entirely depends on each individual person's risk appetite. However, if we were to break back any lower than kind of 165, then I would be pretty content to look to take the 40 pips down to 64.60, and then obviously from 64.60 you can take potential shorts all the way back down to the lows, anywhere around 63.20. But with the momentum that seems to be coming in for the pair, and the weakness coming against the euro, so obviously Euro Yen, Euro Oz, Euro New Zealand that we're starting to see at the moment, I would be pretty content with potential short positions away at the moment. They look highly probable. We will keep an eye on these euro pairs throughout this morning, just because they do look pretty good. Dollar CAD. As I say, the dollar strengthened up quite a lot yesterday. We saw quite a large push up from yesterday afternoon in the US Open. We saw a similar situation with the drop for gold as well, which we would get to in a minute. We've broken back above 126 and we're in this 125.80, 126.80 kind of region and realm again. There isn't a trade to take at the moment, unfortunately, with dollar CAD. I think that's probably dead for the week. If we can get back below, retest and see a potential breakout from this area at 25.80, we could take the downside again, possibly. But we couldn't take a long position until we got above 126.50 and we broke through these previous highs and these spikes. So it doesn't make any sense to get involved with a position until 126.50 is taken out, in which case we've got like 30 to 40 pips before the highs. Have to ask yourself whether or not that is actually worthwhile and whether that's worth actually taking. So it's a bit of a difficult one as to whether or not it's the most sensible decision to make at the moment, or whether we just potentially wait for the breakout to the downside, or just leave it altogether and call it a week when it comes to that pair. With the seemingly weakness that's coming in and the pullbacks we've seen on the CAD, the position on Euro CAD might make sense. Breaking below this 20 level, which we're doing at the moment. Give it out. What's the 4 hours saying? What puts me off here is that we've made this higher high. We've closed above all of these highs. We're still rejecting away. So we've got this clear area of resistance at 53.50. Do you know, potentially, I think Euro CAD for a short play does have potential. I think you could take it from a potential breakout retest scenario of this 53.20 level. However, what we would need to be very mindful of is the potential to get stuck around this region and around these little spikes, and potentially see a higher low form before that push to the upside comes and we break towards 154.30. Given the proximity to this 20 level and obviously the support that it's played previously, I would be very inclined to keep an eye on this. I think if anything presents the best opportunity for a potential trade at the moment, early in this morning, Euro CAD away from this level with the retest and the push back to the downside, or the break back above would give us the long. So I think the most potential for a position at the moment looks as if it's going to come from Euro CAD. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. We'll watch that and we'll revisit that towards the end of this morning's session. What else did I want to look at? Gold we wanted to have a look at. Obviously, we saw this push to the downside. And yesterday, I actually took a gold position yesterday and got caught out on the spike that we saw push back up to the upside. Got taken out on the spike, and obviously we can subsequently see that at some point we were about 300 pips to the good, 260. We would currently be running about 150 up. But obviously we're now at these lows, so we have the potential to either trade from the break back above 1770 back to 84, or obviously if we get the rejection away from here, then we can start to look back at these former lows, back at the kind of 1740 region. So there's still potential in gold as far as the positions go for the rest of this week. Definitely have the potential for a position in the trade at some point in the next couple of hours, I would have thought. And then obviously we'll see a correction around the New York Open, and we'll have to see how price reacts from there. But we have seen some pretty substantial drops occur. I think at the moment the euro looks as if it presents the best opportunity for positions. Euro yen shorts, Euro Oz looks good for the shorts, Euro CAD and Euro New Zealand, as we were just talking about. Pound New Zealand looking alright also for that potential breakaway that we're seeing now. If we can close with this engulfing candle, then I'd be pretty content looking for another position on Pound New Zealand and a fresh run at 186. This is what I thought we would probably see last week, but didn't. So it's nice to know that that analysis is eventually playing out. Obviously, we got caught last week surrounding, or not last week, but the week before, early from this 190.90 situation, and obviously we fired 200, 300 pips, 400 pips to the upside. However, that bubble seems to well and truly have burst now, and we're starting to see these drives back down. I know the daily looks lovely for that potential continuation into 186, so I think that makes a whole world of sense. 88.50 to contend with, but that's 100 pips away from here, so I think there's some potential surrounding further New Zealand strength, further Aussie strength, or certainly against the pound and the euro. Aussie yen obviously looked to have died a death, and Aussie Swiss looks to have had a tough time of it. But again, that's a lot down to the momentum that it saw before. Like we were saying earlier in the week about the potential for there to be a profit take. Obviously, we've seen that occur now, and we're starting to see those pushes and those moves. So we will need to keep a close eye on it, keep a watch on how we progress and what happens for the rest of the time. But as things stand, I'm pretty content and pretty happy with looking for continued shorts surrounding the euro and the pound versus obviously the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar. So yeah, we should keep an eye and have a look. Euro CAD, as I say, does look as if that has quite a lot of potential for that breakaway. I would have preferred to see a bigger push back up, and I think we still get it. I think we'll probably end up finding a little bit of support around 59 at 52.95 or 52.90, somewhere around there, before seeing that push back to the 20 level. That will present us with a possible entry. We're starting to see gold. Is that going to start to reject? I don't know the high it's made, so we'll be very mindful surrounding that at a minute. But as things stand, yeah, there's potential positions all over the place. Hopefully, as I say, we continue to see the yen strengthen up a little bit. Dollar CAD below for that short looks the best option for that pair. But there's potential trades all over the place. We just need to be sensible, finish the week strong, make sure that we, at the very least, come out of this week in profit. And then from there, obviously, we can look to go again next week, do some analysis, send out a newsletter, etc. over the weekend, and start to build next week's watch list. But I hope everyone's had a decent week. Hope everyone's been sensible, come out of the week in profit, and like I say, we can go from there next week. Hope everyone has a decent day, and I'll catch you later.